I've been a long-term fan of Stax, owning a couple of their classic electrostatic-based headphones, including the high-end 007 model. Then, back in December 2022, I was shocked to learn that the company was releasing a new pair of wireless headphones called the Spirit S3 and priced, at that point anyway, at £329. I did a review and I'll put a link above. I was suitably surprised at the excellent sound quality from the form factor that I do not normally associate with sonic perfection. Then again, this wasn't a surprise because, well, you know, Stax. And now is, I believe, the time to remind you that Stax is owned by Audiophile. Hence, while you will see the Stax logo on the ear cups of the older S3 and also these newer S5s, and also the name on the headphone case, you will also see the Audiophile name on the headband. In case you're confused, that's why. Now, well, Stax is back with a new and even more expensive pair of wireless models. As I say, the S5, presented in black. Now, I have no idea what happened to the S4s. They seem to have fallen down a crack in the middle. But I am told that the company does sometimes skip numbers, or they might release certain pieces of hardware in the Asiatic territories only. Compared to the S3s, those models I reviewed back in 2022, in aesthetic terms, well, the S5 designs are slightly chunkier in form factor. The headband is slightly thicker, slightly more substantial. The ear cups are just a bit larger, with a redesigned outer ear chassis. The button and socket interface has also been rejigged a little bit. So let's get on to some details, shall we? And what we're looking at here is planar magnetic driver technology used in conjunction with a Qualcomm QCC 5181 Bluetooth version 5.4 chip. That supports a whole range of codecs, including aptX lossless, aptX adaptive, aptX HD, just plain old vanilla aptX, plus LHDC, LDAC, AAC and SBC. A goodly selection, therefore, that will please just about everyone who is serious about Bluetooth Play. And Bluetooth offers a 10-meter range, incidentally. Pairing of Bluetooth was, I've got to say, both fast and efficient. These headphones use a dual microphone noise cancellation system, and the headphones themselves support multi-point connections and switching between music play, video, and phone calls on two different devices simultaneously. Charged via a USB-C port, the headphones offer around 80 hours or so of play in between those charges, and they can be controlled via the Audiophile Connex app. So what about sockets and buttons then? Well, I mentioned the USB-C charging socket. On the opposite ear cup is a 3.5mm socket for wired play in case your battery dies, or you wish to hook the headphones up to a home hi-fi system. The power button sits in the middle of a volume rocker switch, while the separate Bluetooth pairing button sits just alongside. Now, for my admittedly large head, I found the S5 headphones marginally more comfortable than the S3s. The larger ear cups suited me fine, while the headband was just a tad more comfortable than the S3. Now, of course, if you have a different sized or shaped head, your conclusions may be a little bit different. In the box itself, you also receive a second pair of replaceable Earpads, offering a lighter mesh-like design instead of the heavier lambskin default fitted out of the box. These mesh alternatives are ideal for summer use because they're supposed to cool the ears, and I'll be testing that in a moment. Alongside that is a little tool that looks like a guitar pick. This dinky little thing helps you to remove and swap out the Earpads. The Earpads themselves click on and off the main chassis with a bit of effort, but really not too much. So, question is, how do these things sound? Well, let's have a little listen and we'll find out. And welcome to the sound quality tests for the Spirit S5 wireless headphones. And for the sound tests, I wanted to look at wireless and wired play. The wired option is there, so why not test it? So I connected the S5s to my iPhone 15 via the AAC codec, and I played a lossy version of Marvin Gaye's Mercy Mercy Me. There are EQs available via the app, described here as sound effects, which is a refreshingly honest description, I have to say. Moving from the default original to the monitor setting, this option flattens the response, but it does have the effect of pushing the vocals slightly forward and dampening the surrounding music. The dynamic option, on the other hand, well, that kind of boosts bass. There is a customized option that takes you through to a user-definable EQ screen, and here you can dial in 4 gain sliders, and you can also alter the bandwidth and the frequency options. Listening to all these, I decided to stick with the original option for the period of this test. Oh, and separated from the rest of these so-called effects is something called game mode. This is a low latency mode which accentuates the mids and the treble a little. But if low latency is your priority in life, and life and death in the arena of combat is first and foremost, for example, well, check out this option. Next, I swapped the default lambskin earpads for those bundled mesh-like summer-style options. And good grief, yes, the mesh really does cool down your ears. Quite a bit, actually. In this configuration, in terms of sound, I found the sound to be a little recessed. I felt the need to hit the customized EQ option, for example, and enhance each frequency to bring the music back to life again, although this did require lots of fiddling with the settings. But if hot ears in the summer are your nemesis, well, at least you have a possible solution here. In pure sound terms, though, I stuck with the original lambskin pads. Next, I compared the new S5s with the older S3s, and I turned to my Astel & Can Alpha DAP as a sound source. I turned to the Fleet Foxes and their song For a Week or Two, which is a slow-paced, harmony-rich song with basic percussion and piano, all at 24-bit 96K. Straight away, I was impressed with the S5 headphones. Even this basic percussion offered a more complex sound, even though it was rather stripped as a beat, while the vocal harmonies had a deeper, richer, bassy tone. The upper mid-range area offered more insight, and there was an impressive reverb response that travelled all over a larger soundstage. The piano especially sounded larger, more resonant, while the sustain from each key strike appeared to travel further. In wired mode, well, I don't really see the Stax S5s as specialized wired headphones. That is, I would not use the S5s as my, say, primary wired headphones. They're excellent as wired backups when the need arises, when your S5 battery dies, and you still want to listen to your DAP source, or if you're home and you want a quick listen to your home hi-fi, more on a casual level as opposed to a, say, serious listening session. To prove that, I compared the S5s with my Sennheiser 620Ss on a DAP source, plus my Sendy Aiva wired headphones connected to a home hi-fi, and I found both of those specialized wired setups had a far more coherent sound. The wired models had a better structure, had a more controlled sonic output than the Stax S5s. But look, the entire point of the Stax S5s is wireless play. That's why you would buy them in the first place. You would not buy them for wired mode. In wireless mode, they are truly superb performers. For the S5s, wired mode is purely an emergency backup. Next, I returned to wireless mode and I paired the S5s with my desktop iMac because I wanted to replicate a sort of office environment, and I played the title track from the Nick Drake album, Pink Moon, again at 24-bit 96. Now that overall balance from the detailed mids and treble and the meaty bottom end really impressed me from the S5s. Drake's delivery used a sort of close mic technique. The S5s tracked that rather closed-in, claustrophobic presentation very well indeed. Playing the more dynamic and high-energy track carousels from the Doves, again at 24-bit 96, well, that emphasized just how much these headphones can rock, especially if you let them off the leash. Bass can really let loose via the S5s if you allow it. There's weight here, there's impact from the lower frequencies that, combined with the informative mid-range and treble, can provide a rather epic and grand presentation. And that's basically the review of the Stax Spirit S5 wireless headphones. Let me give you a few final thoughts, then I'll do a few pros and cons, and then I'll give you a rating. Easy use, comfortable, the S5 wireless headphones proved to be a worthy successor to that company's wireless S3 models. In terms of basic sound quality, the S5 designs are a definite step up the sonic ladder. Sure, the backup wired mode is sonically underwhelming, but the S5s were not specifically designed for wired use, even though it's nice to have that option. Hence, they should only be judged, really, as wireless designs. And in that mode, the S5s are brilliant wireless performers, offering a neutral yet dynamic performance with plenty of mid-range and treble detail to burn. Plus, don't forget, a rock-solid bass performance. These headphones are highly recommended. Pros and cons. In the good section, well, wireless mode in general. I loved these headphones in wireless mode. They are also easy to use, easy to get going, easy to control. They're also comfortable. Well, for my head, at any rate. During rocking sequences, I loved the big bass performances. And even from more intimate singer-songwriter performances, I love the informative upper frequencies. In the bad section, well, it's not really a criticism, it's more an observation. The wired mode is fine. But that doesn't put me off from giving the Stax Spirit S5 wireless headphones an award-winning rating, because they deserve them. I'm going to give them an 8 out of 10 and a groovy congratulations to Stax. And that's your lot. Thanks for staying to the end of this video. Much appreciated. Thank you also for all of your support. That's also much appreciated. Before you go, can you click just here somewhere on the like and subscribe buttons? Just helps the old channel. Further down, there's more links to my website, my Patreon page, and there's an exclusive hi-fi news, etc. out this week. So check that out. Also, in addition to that, my Facebook page is linked down there, and you're welcome to join. I'll be back on... what's going on? I'll be back on Saturday with an older hi-fi news, etc., just to give you a bit of insight as to what you can find on the Patreon page. It's a bit of a freebie for you, a bit of a sample, as it were. So I hope you enjoy that. And apart from that, I'll be back next week with another review. Hope to have your company. Until then, folks, bye-bye for now.